everyone, and welcome to the daily newspaper analysis, which is presented to you by LawSikho. Today, we have two articles for our discussion. The first one is from The Hindu, which is titled as Judges Pro Tem. So, this basically talks about the pendency of the cases in the High Courts and the Supreme Court of the country, and how is it related to the vacancies that are prevailing in our judicial system, and what problem is the real one, and how can it be treated in the long run, has been discussed in this article. The second one is from the Indian Express, which is a very interesting article titled as Oxygen Produced in Mass, How and Why. Basically, this article talks about the latest accomplishment which has been done by the NASA's rover over there, which has been able to produce oxygen using the Martian atmosphere, which has taken place for the first time in the history. And finally, we have the News in Flash column. Before moving further, let's have a look at the Project Maverick, which is almost free CLAT prep course from LawSikho. The link to this course is available in the description box below. And if you are preparing for CLAT 2021 or 2022, you can enroll yourself at just cost of rupees 100. Also, if you wish to download the PDF of the slides, the link to our Telegram group is available in the description box as well. With this, let's see that what is the multiple choice question from yesterday's discussion. World Earth Day is observed on. Your options are 21st April, 22nd April, 5th June, or none of the above. You can write down your answer in the comment section below. Also, guys, if you like this initiative, you like this analysis, please give it a thumbs up, like this video, share it with your friends, and also please leave on a comment how you like this video. Also, let's see what is the descriptive question for the day. Discuss how vacancies in the Indian courts can be linked with the growing pendency of the cases. What can be the possible solutions to this issue? You can write down your answer in the comment section below, and our team will definitely make efforts to review your answer. Also, please subscribe to our channels if you like this initiative. On this note, let's get started with the first article for the day, which talks about the backlogs in the High Court and appointment of the ad hoc judges. Recently, the Supreme Court has invoked Article 224A of the Indian Constitution, which was generally considered to be as a dormant provision. Now, as we know, there are, like, for example, let's say we have different kinds of volcanoes. So we have two most important kinds of volcanoes, which are the active volcanoes and the other are the dormant volcanoes. Now, by the term dormant also, we mean that something that exists that can work, but it is not brought into use very generally. Similarly, Article 224A of the Indian Constitution is considered to be as a dormant provision, which is not very regularly or generally used, but this time Supreme Court has made use of it. So what does Article 224A do? Basically, it deals with the appointment of the retired judges as ad hoc judges to clear the pending cases for extraordinary delay in filing up judicial vacancies. So what happens is that, as we know, that once the judges are retired from the High Court or the Supreme Court, they cannot be employed again back into any kind of employment. But yes, the Constitution provides for the ad hoc employment of the judges if in case such judges have to be appointed for clearing the pendency of the cases, if in case the extraordinary delay is taking up in the filing of judicial vacancies. For example, let's say that the quorum of any particular court, let's say that the total number of vacancies over there, the total number of posts over there for the judges is 30, let's say, for example. Now, out of these 30, 15, let's say, or 10 or 15 are the vacancies. So definitely we can understand that the burden of looking after the cases lies on these minimal number of judges which are only available, and thus the vacancies actually lead to greater pendency of the cases. And if these judicial vacancies are not being able to be filled up in time, so this creates a long run vacancy system, which ultimately hampers the free and smoother flow of the cases in the judicial system. And that is why the Supreme Court has this power to bring in or to appoint the retired judges as ad hoc judges. Now, what do we mean by ad hoc judges? So, by ad hoc, we simply mean something that is temporary in nature. And thus, the judges which are brought in by the means of Article 224A of the Constitution, they have their term ad hoc in nature, which means for a temporary basis. Now, why Article 224A was invoked? So we need to understand that what were the reasons or what were the conditions which actually made the Supreme Court to use this not so common provision of the Constitution. So Article 224A of the Constitution provides for the appointment of ad hoc judges in the high courts based on their consent. Now, this also is an important provision of this part, that it is necessary that these judges who are being appointed on the ad hoc basis, they should have their consent in it. So it is not simply that the Supreme Court would give a mandate and they would have to join back as the ad hoc judges. Rather, their consent is equally important in this part. Now, why at all this has been invoked is because the current Chief Justice of India, Sharad A. Bobde, has said that the challenge of mounting arrears and existing vacancies requires recourse to Article 224. So, which means that the Supreme Court has taken the cognizance of the increasing vacancies in the judicial system of the country, and also the increasing number of pending cases in the judicial system has also caused this problem. On this note, if you guys can tell that who is going to be the next Chief Justice of India, who would be the 48th Chief Justice of India, please put it down in the comment section if you want to. Next, pending cases in the High Courts, backlog of over 57 lakh cases and vacancy level of 40% exists. So if we talk about this problem, this is a persistent problem at both the ends. Firstly, we have a backlog of pending cases. Approximately 57 lakh cases are pending in the Indian courts. And on the other side, if we talk about the vacancy level, then also it is reaching up to 40%, which definitely is significant. Almost half of the seats in the Indian judicial system are vacant. So if we talk about the official data, it suggests that there are need not to be any correlation between number of vacancies and large backlog. Now, one thing that we need to understand here is that it cannot considered to be the only reason for the pendency of the cases. Because here a very good example has been given that the Madras High Court has 5.8 lakh backlog of cases, but has only 7% vacancies in total. Whereas, on the contrary, the Calcutta High Court has 44% vacancies but still has only 2.7 lakh pending cases, which means that the vacancies cannot be the only reason for the pendency of the cases. Rather, how proactively the currently holding judges or the currently available judges are able to dispose of the cases, or how fast can the cases be disposed of in a particular court, also decides as to what would be the pendency of the cases. Also, there are a few guidelines that have been provided in this article where it says that the trigger point for such an appointment will be when, first, the vacancies go beyond 20% of the sanctioned strength. So, as for example, if there are 100 vacancies, please consider this is only for the example purpose. Let's say, for example, if there are 100 vacancies in a particular court, so if at all the vacancies go beyond 20%, which means that if out of 100 posts, 20 are vacant, then it would be considered as, so in such a situation, it would be considered to be as a triggering point. Also, when more than 10% of the backlog are over 5 years old, let's say, for example, in a particular court of law, there are 100 cases that are pending in total. So if out of them, 10 cases are 5 years old, which means that they have been pending since the last 5 years, then also the situation shall be considered to be grave. Then the current memorandum of procedure will also be followed. So the process of appointment will be initiated by the Chief Justice of High Court with suggested tenure of 2 to 3 years. So it will be a transitory methodology and does not constrain regular appointments. Please note that the ad hoc appointments, which are done under Article 224A, does not really have any effect on the real vacancies which are there. So these ad hoc judges are for ad hoc basis and ad hoc purposes only. So ultimately, still the vacancies would remain to be that many as they were even before the appointment of these ad hoc judges. And that is why a consistent effort should be done to fill in these vacancies, even if we have the ad hoc judges. So ultimately, the idea or the crux of this particular article is that though the ad hoc judges can be a solution in the short run, but still for the long run and for better functioning of the judicial system in a longer way or in a better manner in the future as well, the only best idea and the only best method is to fill in these judicial vacancies, and nothing, and not even these ad hoc judges, can be a permanent solution to this problem, but only filling in these judicial vacancies in the real sense. With this, let's discuss the second article for the day, which talks about the oxygen production in Mars. So, NASA's Perseverance mission reaches another milestone after a device abroad was able to produce oxygen from the Martian atmosphere, which has taken place for the first time. So please, this is also important for us to note that Perseverance is the mission or Martian mission or the Mars related mission which belongs to NASA, which means the United States of America. So there, on this particular mission, Perseverance, there was another device which was aboard, which had gone along with it. And now, for the first time in the history, it has been able to produce oxygen using the Martian atmosphere. Please keep in mind, whenever we use this term Martian, it would mean something that is related to Mars. Now, if we talk about the device and the procedure that it has used, the device is called as MOXIE. So MOXIE basically stands for Mars Oxygen In Situ Resource Utilization Experiment. So in short, we will consider it to be as MOXIE. So this device is considered as MOXIE, and it was able to produce 5 grams of oxygen, which is enough for an astronaut to breathe for 10 minutes. And it is designed currently to generate up to 10 grams per hour. So if at all we consider that though in the current situation it is not sufficient for one astronaut to be taken care of for the oxygen for 1 whole hour, but still this is a big accomplishment in this direction. Let's also understand that what is the procedure that the MOXIE uses for this production of oxygen. So firstly, it takes in the Martian carbon dioxide and filters it off the contaminants. After that, it uses an electrolysis process to separate the oxygen atoms from the carbon dioxide molecules at 800 degrees Celsius. And finally, oxygen is further isolated by a hot charged ceramic component which causes oxygen ions to merge into oxygen, which is into O2. Please keep in mind that this is something that we do not have to ratificate or not something that we have to mug up as such, just that the basic procedure should be known to us, that the use of electrolysis technology is the one that actually helps this MOXIE to convert the Martian carbon dioxide into oxygen. So why at all do we think that it is important for us, or why are we actually treating this oxygen which is taken up from the Martian atmosphere to be very important, or something that is really really a good step and a very fast a forward step taken in the space science? So, for understanding its significance, we should know that it is essential for the crewed missions. Now, when we talk about the crewed missions, it means those space missions that actually have men or astronauts traveling along. For example, when any kinds of space missions are taken to the moon or to any other kinds of planets. So, whenever any astronauts travel along in the spaceship, those missions are called as crewed mission because they have a crew attached to them. So it is essential for crewed missions both for the astronauts as well as the rockets to use as fuel while returning back. What happens is, now if at all any one of you who's listening to this particular issue has watched the movie Mission Mangal, so over there it was a big question because a huge distance has to be traveled with by that spaceship if it has to move from the earth towards Mars, because it is very very far away from earth. Now, in such a situation, it is ideal that the lighter we keep the spaceship, the easier would it be to cross the gravity of the Earth and also to enter the Mars atmosphere as well. Now, in such a situation, if at all, when we have to return back from there as well. So, for example, obviously, even the astronauts are traveling to Mars, they would definitely seek to return after some period of time. Now, in such a situation, when they have to also return back, currently they will have to carry huge amounts of fuel so that their rocket can come back to the earth as well. But just imagine that if this fuel can be itself produced on the Martian atmosphere or at the Martian surface, then definitely a huge quantity of fuel will not have to be carried away from the earth, and thus this fuel which will be produced then and there itself can be used for returning back. So that is why it can make such Martian missions very easy in the coming future. Also, for 4 astronauts to take off from the Martian surface, a future mission would require around 7 tons of rocket fuel and 25 tons of oxygen, which is around the weight of a space shuttle, and thus it would not really be feasible to do in the future unless we have a technology that can actually help us manufacture fuel there on the Martian surface itself. Also, it is an enormous challenge to haul the 25 metric tons from the Earth to Mars for the return journey, and thus, such kinds of interventions and inventions are very crucial for the space science and research. With this, let's see what do we have for news in flash today. African swine flu, or the swine fever. So the Mizoram government has declared certain areas in 4 districts of the as the epicenter of the African swine flu, which is also termed as ASF, which is a dreaded pig disease which has killed more than 1,000 pigs in a month. So, this is the first time in the history that Mizoram is affected with this fever. Next is the English Language Day. So today, that is 23rd April, is celebrated every year to commemorate both birthday and the date of death of William Shakespeare. So it creates multilingualism and cultural diversity as well as equal use of all 6 official languages in the United Nations. So thus we have English Language Day today. And thirdly, Modi Biden launch Clean Energy Initiative. So it has been launched, the India US Clean Energy Agenda 2030 partnership at the Leaders Summit on Climate, which is hosted by the US today itself. It will proceed along 2 main tracks. Firstly, Strategic Clean Energy Partnership and the Climate Action and Finance Mobilization Dialogue. Also, we should know that US has pledged to cut emission by 50 to 52% by 2030. So this was all for the day. We hope it was a good session for you. Thank you so much for staying tuned with Losico. Please subscribe to our channels for such more updates to come.